measure of any society is how it treats its women and girls. The measure of any society is how it treats its women and girls.
We create
The smart, powerful, creative, accomplished young women.
We can fight.
I'm here because of you. I'm here because girls like you inspire me.
No man is big enough for us.
Many of these girls have faced unthinkable obstacles just to attend school. The measure of any society is how it treats its women and girls.
Won't stand still.
Your story is my story. Your story is my story.
Up, Buttercups. It's another episode of Surly Voices on WMNF Tampa 88.5. My name is Liz. I'm one of your hosts. We have got an exciting lineup for this morning, and we will get to all that as soon as possible. We started with a bit of technical difficulty, but we will get Donna and Maria on the line, and hopefully even Bianca, and then we can get to rolling. But I'm sure you can imagine some of the things we're going to talk about today. One of them is, of course, the elections, and we are going to dice that right on up. As you know, from the past couple of weeks, I have been out of town and still am. So Joe is going to be running the board for us remotely. Hopefully we learned the lesson well enough from the last time we did it, and we can get it done efficiently here. If you want to join the conversation, you can give us a call, or you can email at dj@wmnf.org. So we have got the first thing up, of course, is going to be the midterms. And I don't know why all the news articles and everything are saying that the Angie Nixon was a huge upset. Well, I think I know why they're saying it. They're saying it because the Democratic establishment was backing Vendeman really hard. And wouldn't even invite Angie Nixon to the debates or anything like that, would purposefully cut her out of actually some of them. And Maria knows more about that. So when she gets here, she'll tell you. But the one thing that, huge upset. I mean, that made national news. So it's going to be really exciting when the time comes that we talk about it, because Vendeman outspent her by millions.
Let me jump in and just work that over, right?
Okay. Hi, Donna. Thanks.
So good morning, guys. We have to talk about what just happened in Florida, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Nixon didn't just win a primary. She dismantled a political assumption that has dogged us in Florida.
Yes.
For years. And they say that she cannot, one, money will win in Florida only. And number two, you must, in order to win a statewide election in Florida, this has been with us since the Gillum era, you must be right of center and a serious moderate Democrat that some moderate Republicans would vote for. So let's be clear about what we just saw, okay?
Yes.
Angie Nixon, a state representative, often singularly taking on the establishment with a relatively, compared to $16 million on Wyndham's side.
Mhm.
Relatively modest fundraising operation. Went up against this guy. He's a nationally recognized figure. He's a Trump impeachment witness and the kind of candidate that Washington Dems, they assume he comes with credibility, donor networks, he's got it going on. And she beat him. Not narrowly, y'all.
No, it was not narrow at all.
She didn't squeak by like Crowley did here in Wisconsin, where I'm sitting. She didn't invite a recount drama. And all those think pieces from wannabe clevers, right?
Mhm.
About how quirky turnout can be. She beat him soundly about the head and shoulders. It was 56-44, and she did it while being outspent at scale. Scale that in a normal Democratic Party math is supposed to make victory impossible.
Right.
His campaign apparatus was built on more than $16 million, and hers was built on, drum roll please, less than $1 million. I have a person that I work with in Washington, D.C., and they said, I pointed him to this race as he was investigating where he could possibly get in Florida. And he wanted to talk to Kathy Castor. And I said, well, let me show you Angie Nixon. He came back and said, she has no money and she's not going to win against Fidel, right? You want her to be a part of the statewide race. He also laughed at Diana DeGette, the possibility that DeGette could lose in Colorado. And he wouldn't entertain the fact that Castor could lose in the fall. So he also laughed, the same guy also laughed at Zorod. So there you go. So
Right.
it didn't go that way, right? So in Nixie's in the old model, in the Democratic Party politics, that gap was everything. That's how their elections have been decided. So when someone like Victoria Doyle in the south of Florida says, oh, it's just money in politics, baby, you have to run a campaign.
Yeah.
Okay, don't be foolish. You have to actually run a campaign. Either that or your name recognition, as in Oberman's case, has to outstrip your candidate. You can't figure out how to run a campaign, can't figure out how to pay your consultants, then you have to outstrip them with other things, right? Which happened in that case. But this should keep these pundits up at night. It should keep Stephen Shale. He said it's not going to happen here. And when I had Shane on a couple weeks ago, was it Shane or was Justin from DSA in St. Pete?
I think it was Justin, yeah.
Justin, I was asking Justin about the DSA and what did he think about statewide candidates. And it's really not what I brought him on for. So he didn't really have a lot for us. But I wanted to hear what he thought about what would happen in this election. And he didn't tell us a lot, but he felt like they were good candidates. He gave us a line. But here we are. So let's talk about what Nixon's win exposes, all right?
Okay.
So when you say it's big money in politics, this lady got on a car and a bus and she went around the state and she just talked to people. She talked to people in parks. There's so many pictures of her just talking to people outside, sweating with a blazer on, just doing that old-fashioned campaign work, talking to people.
Dumping.
She did. She campaigned like people used to, and she campaigned like the organizer that she is. Okay,
Right.
So, and what was exposed here? I'm interrupting myself. I'm so excited, but what was exposed here was the disconnect between the institutional Democratic politicians and Democratic primary voters. So normally they've been able to tuck this stuff in, to a gift box and roll it in and then, pop out like a Trojan horse. They keep the primaries under wraps. People don't really turn out for it. People think we vote in November. We don't vote in, August. So no one shows up. It's been so easy for the Democratic Party to choose their candidates and then run them by fast during a primary that no one shows up for. Well, in this election, People showed up for the primary. And why did they show up for the primary? Because they found some of these races to be exciting. And the Democratic Party has given us the most boring, the most milquetoast candidates that people don't show up. They say it has nothing to do with me. There's a bad candidate on this side and there's a bad candidate on that side. And so no one shows up. It doesn't matter. So, and for years, y'all, the center's party of gravity has been defined by this formula. National profile equals electability. Military or impeachment era credentials equal credibility. And fundraising dominance equals inevitability. And Vindman fit that formula
perfectly. Yes.
He was the safe candidate in the language of consultants, right? Which I am, but I'm not an insane consultant, right? I'm a progressive consultant. So I'm always looking. I can't always get the progressive candidate. A lot of times progressive candidates have machines around them that don't allow others in. So if I go and I find a progressive candidate and I run him, I already own the campaign when it arrives in the public eye. So if you are a progressive candidate, if you're a progressive consultant, you have to literally grow your own candidates. So you might find me working for an Amy Klobuchar instead of a Zora because they come to the table with their own people because they don't trust anybody and they shouldn't. So in the language of consultants, he was safe, right? He was the one who could keep donors happy, reassure them, make them feel like their money was going to a good place. He was sitting on the cable news panels. He got invited to Morning Joe and all these shows, right? And the party elders thought, okay, nothing too disruptive is happening. But Nixon, she represents the thing that the establishment has been struggling with for years. She struggled to categorize cleanly. That's going to be something that she'll need to overcome this fall, okay? She's aligned with DSA now, which got her over. Now, people are going to say, well, how could she win statewide as a DSA candidate? Well, you know what? If she's going around and she's going into the parts of the state that Democratic candidates normally don't make it into, right? She finds herself on the west side of Marion County, yeah? If she finds herself in the recesses of Leon County, and she sits down at tables and she stands in the sun and she talks to people, she can win in November the same way she won this week on Tuesday.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. Last thing I got to say. Primary voters did not treat her as a liability, okay? They treated her alignment with DSA as irrelevant or even as an asset. So what's happening, y'all, is people are starting to say, if you're with the DSA, you're with the problems that we have with these massive car payments. You are addressing the problems that we have with these crazy rents and private equity companies eating up the real estate and renting this stuff back to us at exorbitant prices. And while, yes, we finally got something that says you can only own X amount of houses, I don't know what they're going to do about the houses that these companies already own. If they're going to turn them into a million shell companies. But someone who is working under the DSA banner cares about me and my everyday problems. And that is the thing that the moderate Democrats and Republicans never wanted. And the party has just started. So this is the real story. When a candidate with a fraction of the money and a fraction of the institutional backing, i.e. and a fraction of the national profile, can win comfortably, solidly, convincingly, this race was never close. But the polls told us it was close. The polls told us that she couldn't win. And the polls told us that Vindman was a heavily favored opponent. And it means that the gatekeeping mechanisms are weakening. And they're not just weakening slightly, they're weakening fundamentally. Okay? And this is not about race in Florida. It's about the kind of candidates Democratic voters are now willing to elevate when given a choice that is not filtered through Nikki Fried and company. So what brings us to the most important implication of her victory is that the Democratic Party, I want to be clear, the Democratic Party is no longer operating on one ideological track, even in the primaries, which they have owned forever. Okay? So I'll close out here because I know people want to probably talk to us about it, that this isn't happening in isolation. Okay. We want to bring to the attention that Wisconsin's, albeit razor thin, right? It was like 0.4, I think, where Democratic Socialists almost won here, but we did get a Black guy who was tapped into his community. So I don't think it was entirely a loss because of the work that he's done as a county executive. Okay. And he's probably about as progressive. And I don't want to sound like I'm undermining what I just said about Nixon, but he's probably as progressive as Wisconsinites will elect. It's very, very hyper religious here and very fixated on God will do it. So it's a different kind of environment than in our godless state. So
the Australia of America.
It is the great outback. People are starting to see that more and more. So it tells us that what we learned here today. What did we learn? We learned that money is not the firewall that it once was, and that having a national profile doesn't guarantee that you're going to win. And I think it tells us that the Dem primary voters are not choosing between candidates. They're choosing between the visions of the party, like the ideology of what is a Democrat candidate. It used to be that, and I'll say this before I close, that if you were the DSA candidate, you were against democracy. But there was a time when the things that Democratic Socialist candidates talk about were things that an average Democrat talked about, right? Affordability, healthcare, schools. These were things that the average Democrat campaigned on. So the establishment, they can adapt to losing this race. They can write it off as a bad matchup, a fluke, blah, blah, blah. But while they struggle to adapt, what they struggle to adapt to is the possibility that voters are changing faster than their assumptions about them. So
yes,
I don't know that voters are changing faster. I feel like voters have always
I'm going to
been
finish
there.
this right here, then I'm going to stop. She forced the question that the party has tried to avoid. And who exactly, the question of the day, and I'm going to fall back here, is who is the Democratic Party becoming? And right now there is no census. And it's a very dangerous place for moderate Democrats. And I hope they are scared to death because they need
yes. Amen. All right, Maria, jump on in. What's your 2 cents on this?
I mean, I think a couple of things. I think one of Angie's advantages is that she actually spent time going to 67 counties in Florida, right? Where Alex Vindman thought money was going to buy him the seat. The only major county in the state, embarrassingly enough, that Vindman won is Palm Beach County.
Oh,
okay.
That's where Maria is.
Third largest in terms of electorate, but he never stepped foot in Palm Beach County. But it is also one of the wealthiest per capita. It's also one of the poorest.
Oh.
But the party itself focused on their locked in voters at 23% of voter turnout, and you got what you got. I think, Angie, I think, early on, people kept saying, we kept talking about it and saying, don't sleep on Angie Nixon, because the one thing that she knows how to do is organize. And she knows how to talk to people, right? And the other thing is that we even got scared white women who are scared of, like, I'm a Democrat, but not that much of a Democrat, right? You get her in a room with people and they're very comfortable. They're very comfortable with everything she's saying, and how she talks to people resonates with people. She didn't have to read from notebooks. She's authentically herself, and like it or not, and quite frankly, like it or not, this is what people want. And this is what people have wanted for a very long time. And this is what people were hoping someone could fully throatedly, with their whole chest, tell people, this is what I want, and this is what I see, and we are living in a space that is not fair to people. And, she can be criticized for, oh, you're an underdog in this space or that space. Well, she was an underdog in the state legislature. She still got stuff done.
Right. Yeah. You're listening to WMNF Tampa 88.5. Welcome to Surly Voices. And the last host of the day, Bianca, what did you have to say about the Angie Nixon, quote unquote, upset, even though we've been telling people for the past 6 weeks she was going to win?
I was like, have they not been listening to the show?
Apparently not. But you know what? I keep seeing new people joining our different social media spaces. So apparently they're starting to. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Well, as someone who has worked with Representative and now going to be our Senator, Angie Nixon, she knows her strategy. She knows organizing, and she's a good human. And it is refreshing to see good humans win elections, authentic humans win. And people counted her out. And I'm on an accountability tour, y'all. So I've been holding people accountable that have intentionally tried to sabotage her candidacy and her running for office, because it was wild, some of the things that happened. And the conversation that I've been having is we need to have the conversation about electability and how we use that term, because it is a microaggression that is used against Black candidates in particular. And we have seen the results of that. And we have to stop and be intentional with that, particularly if we're not investing in a candidate. I am so happy of the outcome, and just seeing her glow as, again, her being her authentic self is so refreshing. And I hope that it increased the turnout, because it's like 80% of Florida didn't participate in the primary. We got a lot of numbers to reach and voters to reach. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy. And we said it. We said it on this show. So I hope people continue to listen.
Right. If you want to give us a call, you can dial 813-239-9663, or you can email at dj@wmnf.org. So yeah, it's like, I want to see Gollum, aka James Carville, leave the party or write, or tell everybody how wrong he was. I mean, this dude, I don't even know why people give him space to talk anymore, because he's always wrong.
Here's the thing, and that concerns me, is that 80%, right? There are a lot of really good candidates that lost because we, as a party, have not built out the infrastructure in a lot of these places. Those campaigns were run by really good people that helped support Angie Nixon's campaign, right? Mm-hmm. Oliver Larkin, Bernard Taylor, all of these people across the state were really good candidates. And I'm concerned that, I think that going into the general election, we have to do more. We have to do better in terms of building out that infrastructure and getting voters to turn out. I don't know that the party itself is capable of doing that work.
I can tell you right now, they are not, because this is what I want to see. All these people who go around saying, vote blue no matter who. I want to see them turning out and voting for the chosen candidate now. Yeah, let's see if they can put their actions to words. That's what I want to see. Because that's the first, oh my gosh, all the election shaming over the years. And it's like, now let's see how that slogan holds up. Do you think that they will actually put their actions to words?
I hope so. I've been in certain Facebook groups and digital spaces, and like I said, I'm on an accountability tour. So there have been people who have said things, and I've had a screenshot, and I'm like, is this you? Because we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. People need to stop playing out here. People can't afford to live out here, and people are playing games. Enough is enough.
Right, right. All right, so on to Angie Nixon. Well, let's move on from Angie Nixon and talk about other things that are going on in the United, quote unquote, United States of America. Has anybody been seeing a lot of publication or news stories or blog posts about this human printer that Trump drags along with him everywhere? Ms. Harp, the young 30-year-old personal assistant who the story is that she is like handling all of his communications and things like that. So she walks around and prints things out because apparently he doesn't like to read things online. And so she was one of the people that he took off the decoy plane and put on the new plane. I don't think we had a repeat last week, so we didn't even get to talk about that, how they were abroad and there was a credible threat on Air Force One that Iran was going to bomb it, and then or missile it, or whatever weapon they were choosing. So Trump and a very select handful of people were taken off of Air Force One and put on a different plane. Meanwhile, Marco Rubio and all the rest of them flew out on Air Force One. He was willing to sacrifice Marco Rubio. Carolyn Levitt, too, is rumored to have been on the plane, and you notice she resigned the next day, and a bunch of Pula reporters. And it's like, wait a minute. And, I mean, nobody realized he wasn't on that plane until, the news broke. And I'm like, how does this happen? And how did everybody on that plane not just, jump all out of that White House the next day? I mean, he was willing to sacrifice all those folks who were on board with him. They had thought they were on board with him. He was willing to sacrifice all those people so he could get out.
So I'm not sure the story there is the fact that Trump abandoned some people.
No. Well, that was my first thought is, I would be so mad if I was on Air Force One. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I think the story here is Natalie Harp.
Yes.
Natalie Harp is the story. So for those of you who don't know, let's talk about Natalie Harp for a second. Following this week because it's kind of juicy. This is a mess. So anyway, she's one of Trump's executive assistants. She's 35 years old. She's sometimes nicknamed, like Liz just said, the human printer. And she's following him around with a portable printer and feeding him articles that she thinks he should see. Okay. Right. That's not the juicy part. Stay with me. The juicy part is that she's been leaving him intensely personal letters.
Yes. Oh, like stalker kind of letters.
So she reportedly told him, "You're all that matters to me." Another thing that she said is she wanted to bring him joy. Sounds like me as a 23-year-old before I learned the truth about men. Okay, and apparently, stay away from men, Donna Davis. And apparently, people in his own orbit were like, exactly what is going on here? Susie Wiles, who's, left the White House, right? She's found this intensely disturbing.
Yes.
own brother, with whom she's estranged, described her attachment to Trump as very unhealthy. But girl, the recent reporting is telling us that she's gone to extraordinary lengths to remain physically near him. Michael Wolff claims that at Bedminster, she slept in the maids' quarters and even the women's locker room so that she could remain close to them. The White House says this isn't true, that Wolff is lying. So I don't know, if the claim is, allegedly these things happen, all right? And the opinions that we express are not necessarily the opinions of WMNF. So anyway, she claims that Melania didn't want her to appear at events. Now, why does Melania care? She's been through with him for so long. That is so weird to me. Okay, so now says that she didn't want her around, okay? And that's a source of tension, the two of them. Girl fight. And that the reporting does not establish that Trump and Hart are having a intimate sexual affair, which I wouldn't think would be possible, but, what do I know? And sometimes people say that she has an almost spiritual devotion to him, as if he's a god, okay? And yesterday, she literally got caught on camera mouthing F you at a photographer while driving to the White House as the scrutiny around her intimate love letters to Trump are exploding. So, yeah, it's a little messy. Political story for it. Kind of we used to cover all the time.
You look at her. I mean, and she's allegedly trying to make herself look more and more like Ivanka. She's got that very, very blonde hair, and
she has an updo.
She sometimes has an updo. Sometimes it's just down, but it's like, oh my gosh, what kind? I mean, maybe, now this is sheer speculation, no truth to it whatsoever that I'm aware, but what if she's like some kind of foreign operative, some kind of like Russian handler of some kind who's going around?
She's just another unwell person around Trump.
Holy cow. I mean, it's just disturbing. If you haven't been following up with the things about Natalie Hart, just Google her and your mind will explode from some of the notes she leaves around for him, like Donna said, and just going to extraordinary lengths to just be around him in his very, personal space. So it's like, what in the world? And why aren't cooler heads, intervening here and pulling her away? I mean, this cannot be good. Just, keeping
heads or something, getting video of the activities so that we can have a great scandal just in time for the election.
Ooh, child.
But it's like, I mean, where is? I mean, who is even the chief of staff nowadays? Because now everybody's in and out so much, I can't even keep track anymore. I know Susie Wiles was talking about leaving, but did anybody get in her place? It's like somebody's got to get between these two, because this one, I mean, it's like she's got stalker energy all over her, and it's like, this cannot be good. Because there's no telling what kind of classified information she sees. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
So hello.
Oh, Donna, you're
ask
breaking
yourself,
up.
you would
Yeah.
In the basement. Ask yourself if you could survive Trump nudes.
Oh, no. I mean, I don't want to be anywhere near close to any boss of mine that, oh my gosh. It's like, you usually want to get away from your boss and get some downtime and just let your mind, roll somewhere else. But golly, it's disturbing. It really is. You're listening to WMNF Tampa 88.5 Surly Voices. You can give us a call at 813-239-9663, or you can email to dj@wmnf.org. And then, yesterday or day before, I'm kind of behind on my news because I've been otherwise occupied, but John Ossoff from Georgia had mentioned something about Natalie Harp. And then, the Trumpites went crazy and they're like, "You're such a misogynist." No, he was calling out the truth, So, yeah, this doesn't work well when you guys try to do it. Your branding is tight, but your clapbacks are weak.
Better say it.
So yeah, it's like John Ossoff really made waves, and it's like hitdogholly.com, it's like, oh yeah, we know, we see you realize that this is not a normal thing. So what else is on the menu today, ladies?
What are y'all thoughts on the governor's race in Florida?
Once again, the Democratic Party gives us a dino to be the lesser of two evils. That's what I think. I mean, this dude, come on. I think he was actually a registered Republican at one point, no?
He was. I was really disappointed that that Foster did not get enough airtime with her campaign, but we know why that was a thing. But it's just sad to see the rhetoric that's happening as it relates to these races. And I go back to there was 80% of people roughly that didn't participate in the primary. So I just hope that we don't replicate these actions in the general. I hope that we can change these numbers around because it's wild.
Well, and I mean, every citizen should vote. Doesn't matter what party you are. But when the Democrats pretty much it's the same model that the National Democratic Party has, which is why I'm not a Democrat. It's like, here, yeah, this other person may be great, but this is the safe one. This is the one that can, be the bridge build. Nobody can build bridges with the Republicans of 2026 because they are hell-bent on dragging us all back to the 50s, and that's being generous. They probably want to drag us more back than that. But it's like, okay, why can't you guys go with the people, the candidate that the people have chosen? And it's still, I mean, you think back to the past presidential election, Joe Biden, once again, I'm going to say this till I die, Joe Biden should never, ever, ever have been president, ever. And so, but yeah, that's who we get. Let's talk to Lori from Sarasota. I don't hear anything. Lori, hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thanks for taking the call. I just had a quick comment regarding, I can't even remember her name, the one that's following around Trump, giving him love letters. Her.
Natalie Harp.
Yeah, I think we need to remind ourselves that his ego is so minuscule that he needs somebody to stroke it all day, all night, and she fits the bill perfectly. I don't see her as a stalker. I see her as doing her job very proficiently.
Absolutely. You are totally right, Lori. Absolutely. That is the magic key. She does, her whole entire existence is directed to fluffing up his ego. You're absolutely right. Thanks so much for calling.
Yeah, no worries. I love your guys' show. Thanks so much for taking the call.
Thank you, Lori.
Can I just say one thing here? She's a fluffer, all right. And he does need someone to stroke it all day and all night. But no matter how much he gets stroked all day and all night, he'll never be the big man that he wants to be. I couldn't help it. Sorry.
You ever hear that song "Stroking"? That's what popped into my mind.
Yes, thank you for hearing me out.
All right, let's talk to Jack from Dover.
Hi,
Hi,
good morning,
Jack.
ladies. Heard you
How
all,
are you,
all around
Jack?
the country. I'm
Yes,
doing
we
very well,
are.
Donna. Thank you. I was just going to throw something out there that since you're traveling around the United States, do you think there might be a chance that you could do a remote from Antioch College, which is where Dave Chappelle's father was a professor? Because I was watching an interview of Dave yesterday on the internet, and he is such a down-to-earth person and such a nice, well-rounded, educated person. When you see him acting up as a comedian, you don't really get the person that he actually is. And I was just so impressed with him as a person. I just wanted to say that this morning. He's
Where
really
did
cool.
you see this? Yeah, where did you see this interview with him, Dave?
He was on
Jack.
the campus at Antioch where his father was a professor, and it's just
Okay.
on Facebook. So,
Oh, okay.
I'm telling you, he is a super, super down to earth, nice person. I wish people like him would actually, run for president or vice president or something where, we could really get where people grow up, where their families are from, when their parents are educators, and you know that the community is like that. It's kind of like FSU being a little bit of a silver lining in a lot of chaos. It's that kind of an atmosphere, that I think is what's stitching the country back together. And it's unfortunate that there's still these elements where, when kids protest about Gaza or they protest about a war, that, people come and just get violent with them and push them, off of their campuses and cut their funding and all of the craziness. And, I think that a lot of people are just desperate, to hear something from our educators or from our educators' children that say, of course there's the good and the bad, but the good is going to overcome. We shall overcome, so the song says. And if more people like Dave Chappelle get out there and they let people know, that there is hope, that there are people like, Dave Chappelle's father. There are professors out there that are educated, that know what can be done. It's just a matter of, like you said, you've got to get out there and vote. You've got to get out there and vote for the people that will get it done. And that's an important aspect. Don't just sit by and say, oh, I hope it gets done. Get out there and get it done.
All right. Thanks so much, Jack.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye. So, Dave Chappelle, I have thoughts about Dave Chappelle. Number one, he's a comedic genius. I mean, I don't think anybody disputes that. He's got some problematic views, but yeah, he's very, very, very talented. I don't know how good a person he is. I don't know that much about him when he's not on screen or stage somewhere, but he is unquestionably talented. Anybody else want to throw in on that? Nope. Everybody pass. Like, this is password today, I guess. Okay. So, all right. We are heading toward the last few minutes of the show. So if you're going to call, it's time to do it now. It's now or never, for today anyway. And again, if you don't have the numbers handy, you can email to dj@wmnf.org, or you can call. Let's see, Joe, if we have any text messages or emails, I don't know how we're going to remotely review those, but maybe if we have any, you can jump in and read. We usually have way more emails than we do have callers.
I've been forwarding them to you.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Let me look. This is working pretty well then. Okay. All right, Dave. Dave, this is Mr. White Pep Dave. Yeah. Hi, ladies. I thought it was ironic that Angie Nixon won as a Nixon, which under normal circumstances would be a political liability for any candidate. However, Dave, you and I are of an age where we understand that reference. The young do not as much because they don't probably even know who Richard Nixon was. But anyway, however, Trump makes Richard Nixon look like an Eagle Scout. No one can beat Trump for corruption and unethical behavior. I think that Donald Trump should adopt Byron Donalds. They would be Byron Donalds Trump, and DJT would brag that he created the first black Trump. Oh, God. I don't like where this is going, and oh my God, it's cringy. But anyway, let's see. It would be like the classic TV show Different Strokes. Mr. Drummond, yeah. All right. Thanks for that, Dave. Let's see. Did you hear? We always like the gossip. Did you hear the Sarasota school board wins? Yes. Oh my gosh, they knocked out all the Moms of Liberty. Yes, the Moms for Fascism founder Bridget Ziegler was ousted. So awesome. Thanks, Bubba. And then we have, trying to turn my screen sideways. All right. I like the Fentress Driscoll win. I voted for her. Great person, Bubba. I actually know Fentress Driscoll very well, and she is a great person, and I was happy to see that as well. Let's see. In fact, when she was running for the first office, I don't even remember. There were two candidates that I actually went and canvassed for, and she was one of them. Just tuned in, so apologies if this is off topics. The stupid property tax proposal, has anyone seen calculations indicating at what property value above which owners would save more on property tax? I have seen estimates of sales tax jumping 12%, but nothing beyond that. Thanks, Charles in Tampa. Does anybody have any idea about the property tax issues?
No, I just know that it was passed at that level of the State House, and it is going to pose a serious problem. These taxes go to firefighters. It goes to local infrastructure, things like that. A lot of the programs and grant monies that are available after school programs at the Boys and Girls Club, a lot of those things are going to be heavily impacted. When I worked on that locally earlier this year, I have all these like shadow contracts that cause a lot of consternation and wringing of hands and the renting of garments in those sectors of people who know they are direct benefits of state money. And there had already been cuts that precipitated this move to eliminate property taxes. And so it's going to cause a lot of conflict and chaos. Now, on the one hand, because of the supermajority at the level of the State House, we cannot stop this, right? However, it is going to squeeze people enough. That person whose kids goes to this school program and they get a dinner given to them, now having to come home and cook on limited funds when they're already gigging in 2 or 3 places, those people are going to be moved right toward the polls, right? So the more squeeze that people experience, the more they're going to be looking around for a ladder, some way to express their, oppression. And so it's just going to cause more people to go out and vote for DSA candidates. So I would describe it as a case of the beatings will continue until morale improves. And so it's going to get them exactly what they don't want, which is less control over the people that they're seeking to control. It's the Russian doll box, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Then we have another from David Bryant. Hi, Surleys. It's worth noting that Natalie Harp and Carolyn Levitt are both OANN, One America News Network trash, and both worked on air previously I did not realize that. On air previously for OANN. If you think that Fox News is a Trump cheerleader, then please note that OANN is basically Trump's state media. They think his poop doesn't stink. That is that explains a lot, how this woman even came to get into his orbit. All right. Lightning round now. Anybody got any last few thoughts?
I'm working on a study as it relates to social media safety. Y'all know that that's something very, very important to me. So for the people that are listening, please, please, please be intentional with your child's devices, because there's a lot of things that are happening on the internet that we need to be aware of. And children are falling in love with AI bots. And that's a serious concern at this moment. So please be intentional with what your children have access to. And please vote.
Yeah. I'm disturbed about the general use of AI, period, because it's like, I heard somebody say the other day, oh, just AI it and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, AI to me is the worst evil other than, the current presidential regime, because of the resources it uses. And so it's like it needs all these huge cooling plants and things like that. And people some companies are putting their AI stuff like in waterways to keep it cool. And it's like, this cannot be good. This does not end well. And it's like, so what? We're just gonna keep training the AI until it puts everybody out of jobs. You'll now go to the AI doctor and AI will examine, do your eye exams every year. I mean, there's no end to it. There's no end to it. And the minute I saw the first AI ads coming out with Matthew McConaughey, where they built an AI Matthew McConaughey, I'm like, oh no, this is not good. Am I just overly paranoid?
It's not going away. It's only increasing. The AI bots are breaking out of their constraints and are hacking each other. That's how deep this is going. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that it's terrifying to me. I don't know what to end with. All right, guys. So guess we're out of time on WMNF Tampa 88.5.
I like texts from my exes when they want a second chance. I like proving wrong. I do can't. They call me Cardi, Cardi, banging body, spicy mommy, hot tamale, hotter than a Somali. Bird, go, Ferrari, hop up the stoop, jump in the coupe, big dip on top of the roof, flexing them as hard as I can, eating halal, driving a lamb. So that bitch, I'm sorry though. Got my coins like Mario. Yeah, they call me Cardi B. I run this shit like cardio. I'm in district in the chain. Certified, you know I'm gang, 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 gang. Drop the top and blow the brand. Oh, he's so handsome, what's his name? I need the dollars to beat it up like pinata. Tell the job to close the curtains. That chick make you nervous.
Chambean, pero no jalan. Tú compras todas las Jolambo, a mí me las regalan.
This is WMNF Tampa, 88.5 on the left side of your dial, best little radio station on planet Earth. Stay tuned for Richard Wolf's Economic Update.
Support from the production of Economic Update comes in part from Democracy at Work, a nonprofit 501c3 organization and publisher of books by Richard Wolf, who is a professor of economics emeritus at UMass Amherst and a visiting professor at the New School University, has authored numerous books on the subject of social economics, including Rethinking Marxism, Understanding Capitalism, and Democracy at Work, A Cure for Capitalism. Further information is available at democracyatwork.info and rdwolf.com.
Welcome, friends, to another edition of Economic Update, a weekly program devoted to the economic dimensions of our lives and those of our children. I'm your host, Richard Wolf. Our updates today are going to be talking about tariffs and prices and inflation. They're going to be continuing our reporting on what's happening